Hi guys, my name is Kayla and I'm going to be doing a Q&A for eating disorders. Many of you guys asked me questions through my Instagram and my DM and also on my Ask box, which is linked in my Instagram as well. And I got a pretty good amount of questions. Some of the questions I felt were more personal towards the person that was asking them. So I won't be answering all of the questions on this video, but for the more general and the ones that I felt were appropriate to talk about, those will be on here. And if I did miss your question, please feel free to either comment them below, or I'll have links to all my social media too. And I'd love to answer them either in a video or, just personally, just emailing you back. But let's get started because I did get a lot and I want to be able to elaborate just a little bit on every question. So the first question I'm going to answer is, did you have an eating disorder and what kind of eating disorder did you have? Well, I think that my eating disorder started off more as anorexia. I started off dieting because I felt like I needed to lose weight, and they were very innocent diets and just, cutting out junk food and cutting back a little bit of like my portion sizes, but then eventually it just kind of got worse and worse and worse and less and less and less. And I think that's when I started losing a drastic amount of weight. But eventually I started developing more symptoms of bulimia, and I really feel like that's because I restricted myself from so much that I liked, because I loved food, and the more you restrict, the more your body's going to crave those nutrients in those foods. And that's exactly what happened. I restricted so long and so much from my body that eventually I just started developing the habit of binging on those foods and then feeling so guilty, and then purging. And I think that for me, purging also happened in different ways. Not only was it purging, but it was also purging through exercise as well. And if I felt guilty for eating a cupcake, then spending an extra 20 minutes on a treadmill. So things like that. I think that eating disorders are very individualized, and no eating disorder is the same and should be treated the same either. What was your lowest weight? Honestly, I don't feel like talking about numbers because I don't think it'd be beneficial for anybody if you guys knew, the numbers. But I was 20 pounds underweight, and I dropped that weight within a matter of months. And somebody asked me what my current weight is, and I'm currently at a healthy weight. I have a healthy BMI now, which is, amazing, and I'm just so grateful to God for giving me the strength to be able to do that, because honestly I wouldn't have been able to gain it back if it wasn't for Him. But yeah, I am at a healthy weight now, and I feel better than ever. Did your hair fall out, and what helped it grow back? Oh my gosh, yes, my hair did fall out. Oh my, literally disgusting. But and I even went through this phase where I started buying hair growth supplements, and I started doing all these DIYs, shampoos and conditioners to see if it would help, because my hair used to be really long and it grew really quick, and now all of a sudden it was short and it wouldn't grow and it would fall out. It was just horrible, and I was freaking out. And yeah, so none of that worked, and I didn't really grow my hair back, and it didn't stop falling out until I started to nourish my body again through my recovery. And then it started to get thicker and stronger, and even the hairstylist that I go to, she noticed the difference. It was so funny. But yeah, when we're lacking nutrients on the inside, it's going to reflect on the outside. That's why when we are malnourished, our nails get rigid, we get calcium spots on our skin, like little white bumps. You feel horrible, lethargic sometimes. the hair is brittle and it breaks and it falls out. I mean, think about it. If you're nourishing your body on the inside, that's going to show on the outside. So the same thing happens when we're not nourishing our body on the inside. We're going to look like not nourished on the outside as well. Did you lose your period, and how long did it take to get back? Yes, I lost my period for 4 years almost, and I think it lasted, like, I didn't get it back for so long because I didn't even see a doctor for it until a year ago, and that was because I didn't really know it was a big issue, and I don't even think my parents knew it was a big issue. I mean, I knew that it meant that I couldn't have kids, but I figured, you know, I would get it back eventually and it'll just come back naturally. You know, I was just very hopeful, but it wasn't coming back because my body fat was still too low to produce enough estrogen to produce a period. And, you know, I didn't know that not having a period could take such a big toll on my bones as well. And it did, it really did. When I went to see my doctor, he told me that after some testing was done, he told me that I had the bones of, you know, a 60, 70-year-old woman. And I was like, oh God, can this be reversed? Because I cannot have a cane when I go to university. Like, it was just, wow, like such a huge wake-up call, like that my body was still lacking so much, even though I felt like I was doing all the right things. So yeah, I really put forth my maximum effort to do what I needed to do, because there was still a chance that my bones could rebuild and get stronger again. So I did. In a matter of, I think, about 2 months, I had gained enough weight and enough body fat to where I started producing one naturally. And I mean, it was amazing, but it wasn't, if I hadn't made those changes, I would still be without a period. So if you don't have yours and you haven't had it for a while, or even if it's irregular, I highly recommend that you go see a doctor, because it is serious and it's important. And yeah, you know, don't wait until it's too late. How do you manage stressors and triggers? I feel stress is a trigger for me as I become more regimented and restricted. I try to meditate, however, become too distracted to struggle to see past the fog. I think that when it comes to managing stressors and triggers, it's all depends on you and your personal likes. What has really helped me is setting time for myself every day. And this is not an easy thing to do because, you know, life happens and we get busy, and you know, even if you have kids, I mean, you know, you're constantly worried about others, but just setting time for yourself every day to do something that you like or do something that relaxes you. So whether it's yoga or painting or drawing or writing, or maybe, you know, it's even just breathing, and definitely prayer. I mean, that's what gets me through, you know, the toughest times. It's just taking a step back, going somewhere quiet, and just praying and breathing. But it's very important to take care of yourself too, because if you can't take care of yourself, how are you going to take care of other people? You know what I mean? How did you manage to walk the line of knowing your body was okay as it was and wanting to be smaller? How did you manage to walk the line of knowing your body was okay as it was and wanting to be smaller? Once I got my period back, I kind of used that as like a determinant of whether or not my body was healthy. And, you know, if I didn't have it, then that would mean that it's not. And, you know, I think it's really it's really important to take the focus off of you and your body. I think what has really helped me with that is just reminding myself of the truth, that God created us fearfully and wonderfully. He created our bodies to work a certain way, to look a certain way, and as long as I am taking care of my body, I know that He's going to bless me for that. I know that by nourishing and strengthening my body, He is going to reflect that on the outside, and my body is going to reflect that on the outside, and I feel it on the inside too. I mean, just when I was going through the weight gain process, I can't tell you how much better I felt physically. And emotionally it was hard, but like I said, just reminding myself of the truth that I'm doing this to keep myself healthy. I'm doing this to glorify God. I'm doing this to take care of the body that He gave me, because we only have one, and I don't know about you, but I want to live long, and I want to live happily. And when I'm malnourished, I feel it, and people around me feel it, because I take out my anger and my irritability all on other people, and I feel happy when my body is happy. So I guess just reminding yourself of that, and reminding yourself why you are trying to recover, and yeah. How did you manage to continue eating even when food wasn't appealing? This is actually a really good question, because I went through this. I remember I got sick of food. I really did, and it was really hard for me to be like want to eat. I just wasn't hungry, and I just, every time I sat down, I prayed for my food, and I reminded myself that not everybody gets this. There's people in other countries that don't get food. So I have been given food, and I'm going to be grateful for it. And I'm eating it not for me, but I'm eating it for my body, to nourish my body. And I know that even though I don't want it, my body wants it. And that's the end of it, it's simple when you think about it. It's hard to do, but it's the truth. I got many questions about how to confront somebody with an eating disorder, especially like if they're close to the family, and some of them said that they were just like an acquaintance, but I didn't want to give you my answer and my opinion, so I asked my current therapist if she would give her input, and she did. And I will post a link to the extremely helpful document that has the answers, and I would go over them all with you, but there's a lot of them and a lot of different ways to go about it, because as I said, everybody's different, and there's no one size fits all answer. So I will post a link to that below. Please check it out. Did you struggle with setting boundaries for how often and how much time you spent working out? So yes, I did struggle with setting, the boundaries for the amount of time I spend working out. But eventually I was able to find that balance with the help of my doctors, and also just knowing myself and knowing when I'm pushing myself too hard for the wrong reasons. I think that you really have to be, I think that prayer is what really helped me. I remember I went to God, and God was basically like my nutritionist and my personal trainer. He, gave me the discernment to discern my thoughts, and to discern whether, I'm thinking an eating disorder thought, or I'm thinking, in the right mindset. So, recovery was only possible through God, and He has just completely transformed me and my heart and my life, and I'm just so eternally grateful for that. But yeah, so I think that it's just important to listen to your doctors and get advice from them, and follow it, you know. What should I do if I feel I'm quickly spiraling down into an eating disorder? Speak up. I would not be where I am today if I didn't speak up. I think one of the most deadly side effects of an eating disorder is silence. You know, silence is truly deadly, especially when it comes to eating disorders, because when you are keeping all of your emotions and all of these secrets to yourself, the devil has a hold of them and he can use them against you. But once you talk to somebody and, you know, bring it to light, then you can be helped. And I remember the first person I told was my mom, and I told her because I just got to the point where I was just so broken and so scared, because I had no idea what was going to happen if I continued going on the way I was going. And if I hadn't confronted my mom, then, you know, I wouldn't have. That was my first step in recovery, was telling her. So I would speak up, tell somebody that you trust, and, you know, maybe ask them to go to the doctors with you if you're scared to do that by yourself. Or maybe you don't feel comfortable telling anybody and you just want to go to your doctor. Tell somebody. Tell someone. Don't keep it to yourself. And that would be my advice. But yeah, if you are currently struggling with an eating disorder and you have not asked for help, or you want help but you don't know where to go, I will have resources below that you can click on. And I mean, there's even online treatment now. There's just so many people who are willing to help you, and I cannot tell you how amazing freedom is and how worth it is. You are worth recovery. You deserve it. Don't let this control your life, because it takes the lives of so many. And, you know, my only prayer is that it doesn't take yours. Let's continue to fight together, and, you know, I'm always here if you guys need to talk. Thank you guys so much for asking questions and helping me bring awareness to this. You guys are awesome, and I love you. God bless you, and see you next time.